Don't Look Under the Bed. Emily's scary story published by Scare Fiction. Chapter 1. The New House. The moving truck groaned and wheezed, spewing boxes like dust bunnies onto the overgrown lawn. 10-year-old Emily stood amidst the chaos, watching her old life tumble out onto the gravel drive of their new home. A sprawling Victorian edifice, it loomed over them like a watchful giant, its gables sharp against the gray sky. Excitement had thrummed through Emily when her parents announced the move. A fresh start in a new town, away from the whispers and pitying glances that followed her since the fire. But now, with the wind moaning through the twisted branches of the ancient oak and the house casting long, inky shadows, a sliver of unease snaked its way through her. Inside, the air hung heavy with the scent of dust and mothballs. Floorboards creaked underfoot, whispering secrets beneath the thick carpets. In the dimly lit hallway, portraits with unblinking eyes stared down at them, their painted expressions frozen in the amber of time. Emily felt a prickle on her skin, a phantom chill that had little to do with the damp September air. Her dad, ever the optimist, whistled cheerily as he wrestled a wardrobe down the stairs. "Think of it like exploring an old castle, Em," he boomed, oblivious to her apprehension. "But castles were full of ghosts," Emily mumbled, kicking at a loose thread in the carpet. He ruffled her hair. "No ghosts here, just history waiting to be discovered." But as the days bled into each other, the feeling of being watched lingered. It was a prickling at the back of her neck, a sudden rustle in the shadows when she was sure she was alone. The old house creaked and groaned at night, the floorboards performing a melancholic symphony under the moon. Lights flickered, casting dancing shadows on the walls, morphing familiar shapes into menacing silhouettes. Then came the sounds. Whispers, like the rustle of dry leaves, seemed to follow her from room to room. Faint giggles echoed down the empty hallways, always just out of reach. Once, she swore she heard a child's mournful cry emanating from the depths of the house. Each sound chipped away at Emily's newfound sense of security, leaving her with a gnawing fear that they weren't alone. One rainy afternoon, while exploring the attic, she stumbled upon a locked door at the end of the dusty hallway. Unlike the other doors, it wasn't made of polished wood, but dark, heavy iron, etched with faded patterns. A brass keyhole mocked her curiosity, whispering promises of secrets hidden within. A thrill of excitement, laced with a heavy dose of trepidation, surged through her. Could this be the source of the strange occurrences? The answer to the whispers and the shadows? Hesitantly, she reached out and touched the cold metal. It sent a shiver down her spine, as if the door itself pulsed with a hidden energy. For a moment, she stood there, torn between fear and the burning desire to unravel the house's mysteries. Finally, the allure of the unknown won. With a deep breath, she turned away, carrying the weight of the locked door and its secrets heavy in her heart. That night, as the wind howled and the rain lashed against the windows, Emily dreamt of a little girl with laughing eyes, beckoning her from behind the iron door. When she woke, the image lingered, a haunting echo of the secrets whispering within the walls of her new, unsettling home. The attic door had become a physical manifestation of her anxieties, a gateway to the shadows that clung to the house. And Emily knew, with a chilling certainty, that she couldn't ignore it forever. The question was she brave enough to unlock it and confront the mysteries that lay hidden within? Chapter 2. Unwanted Secrets. The iron key felt cold and heavy in Emily's palm, the weight of disobedience pressing down on her. Days turned into nights, filled with hushed whispers and stolen glances towards the attic door. Sleep evaded her, replaced by dreams of the little girl with laughing eyes and the chilling echo of her parents' stern warnings. Yet, the allure of the unknown pulsed within her, stronger than fear. One afternoon, under the guise of fetching a forgotten toy, she slipped away. Her heart hammered against her ribs as she climbed the creaking stairs, each step a tiny betrayal. Reaching the attic door, she held her breath and inserted the key. The lock clicked open with a rusted groan, a sound that seemed to reverberate through the silent house. Dust motes danced in the sliver of light that fell through the gap, revealing a chamber frozen in time. The attic was like a giant's forgotten wardrobe, crammed with antique furniture shrouded in white sheets. A rocking horse, frozen mid-gallop, seemed to leer at her from the shadows. Cobwebs hung like tattered lace, and the air clung heavy with the musty scent of forgotten memories. Ignoring the goosebumps prickling her skin, Emily ventured deeper. Her fingers grazed a smooth wooden surface under a sheet, and with a rustle, she uncovered a weathered leather-bound book. The inscription on the front, Olivia's diary, sent a shiver down her spine. Intrigued, Emily settled on a dusty divan, gingerly opening the diary. Faded ink smeared across the brittle pages, each entry a window into another time. Olivia, the writer, lived in the house a century ago, a girl her age with a wild imagination and a love for adventure. But as she read further, Emily's heart lurched. Olivia's world wasn't filled with sunny days and playful explorations. It was shrouded in secrets and shadowed by something darker. Olivia wrote of strange noises, whispers in the dead of night, and fleeting glimpses of a shadowy figure with eyes that glowed like embers. She spoke of fear, a paralyzing dread that seeped into her bones like the chill of the old house. Then came the entries that truly sent shivers down Emily's spine. Olivia described a creature, a nightmare given form, lurking within the walls. It called itself the Shadow Weaver. It fed on memories, and it yearned to escape the attic's confines. Each line filled Emily with a cold dread. Was this the source of the unsettling feeling that clung to the house? The whispers, the shadows, the chilling loneliness, was it all the work of the Shadow Weaver? Olivia's final entry was the most chilling of all. She wrote of a bargain struck with the creature, a desperate attempt to protect her family. In exchange for their safety, Olivia promised to become its prisoner, the first of many souls it would trap within the attic walls. Slamming the diary shut, Emily's head spun. The air thickened, and a cold wind seemed to emanate from the shadows. Was Olivia's story nothing more than a child's fanciful tale? Or was the Shadow Weaver real, waiting in the darkness, listening to their every word? Panic clawed at her throat, and she scrambled to her feet, knocking over a porcelain doll in her haste. The doll's head rolled away, its painted eyes staring sightlessly up at her. For a terrifying moment, Emily swore she saw a flicker of red light in their glassy depths. With a strangled gasp, she fled the attic, leaving Olivia's diary behind. The creaking stairs seemed to scream beneath her feet, mocking her escape. Reaching the landing, she slammed the door shut, the iron key biting into her palm like a tiny talon. Back in her room, heart pounding against her ribs, Emily knew this was just the beginning. She had opened a door, not just to the attic, but to a world of secrets and danger. And the Shadow Weaver, awakened by her curiosity, was waiting, hungering for more. Chapter 3: Creeping Shadows. Sleep became a battleground. Nightmares, vivid and chilling, painted Olivia's tale onto Emily's eyelids. She dreamt of the rocking horse cavorting with glowing eyes, its wooden grin taunting her. The Shadow Weaver, a wisp of inky darkness with hungry eyes, slithered through her dreams, its whispers slithering into her ears like promises of oblivion. Waking up was no reprieve. Sleep paralysis pinned her to the bed, a suffocating weight pressing down on her chest. Her lungs screamed for air, but only shallow gasps escaped her lips. Shadows danced on the walls, twisting and contorting into monstrous shapes. The wallpaper's floral pattern morphed into grinning faces, whispering Olivia's warnings. One morning, she woke to find her stuffed dinosaur, Rex, perched on the ceiling fan, its plastic claws frozen mid-swing. Had she put him there in her sleep? Was she losing her mind? Doubt gnawed at her, whispering insecurities, more poisonous than any Shadow Weaver's curse. When she told her parents, their concern was tinged with dismissal. Just an overactive imagination, her father soothed, ruffling her hair. Remember that scary movie you watched? Her mother suggested reading less before bed, their words cut like paper blades, severing the thread of trust that had already begun to fray. Alone in her fear, Emily turned to Olivia's diary. It became her talisman, a flickering candle in the encroaching darkness. The book's faded ink held a grim comfort, proof that she wasn't alone in her terror. Olivia's experiences mirrored her own, a chilling validation that defied her parents' skepticism. One day, rummaging through the attic's forgotten corners, Emily stumbled upon a wooden chest tucked away in a dusty alcove. It was locked, but hope surged through her. This might be Olivia's final resting place, the source of the whispers. Armed with a crowbar from the shed, she pried the lock open, her heart pounding in her chest. Inside, tucked amongst moth-eaten clothes and yellowed letters, lay a small porcelain doll with eyes that winked red in the attic's dim light. A jolt of ice ran through Emily, the memory of the doll from Olivia's diary flashing in her mind. Was this another trick of her paranoid mind, or was it something more? As she reached for the doll, a cold wind swept through the attic, extinguishing the single oil lamp she had brought. In the sudden darkness, the shadows writhed and pulsed, seeming to close in on her. A low, hungry growl echoed through the silence, the sound sending shivers down her spine. Panic seized her. Scrambling away from the chest, she tripped and fell, the porcelain doll flying from her grasp. It hit the floor with a shattering crack, a final scream before falling silent. For a moment, there was only darkness and the ragged rasp of her own breath. Then, a faint, flickering light began to glow from within the broken doll. A wisp of inky darkness coalesced, taking shape before her eyes. For the first time, Emily saw the Shadow Weaver, a creature of shifting shadows with burning eyes that held the chilling echo of forgotten memories. It smiled, a predatory grin that stretched across its inky form. "So, you finally come to play, little one." Tears welled in Emily's eyes, but she stood her ground. This was more than just a nightmare. This was the culmination of all her fears, the embodiment of the secrets whispering within the walls. And she knew, with a terrifying certainty, that the battle for her sanity, for the house, was about to begin. Chapter 4: Whispers in the Dark. The house pulsed with whispers. They slithered through the cracks in the walls, crept under closed doors, and danced on the edges of silence. Sometimes they were mere hisses, barely audible wisps of sound. Other times, they erupted into chilling choruses of laughter, echoing through the empty halls like taunts from unseen demons. Sleep became a luxury Emily could no longer afford. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of leaves outside her window sent her heart into overdrive. Shadows morphed into menacing shapes, lurking at the edge of her vision. And then there were the scratches, thin, angry red lines that appeared on her skin overnight, blooming like dark flowers on her arms and legs. Bruises blossomed on her thighs, the tender flesh marbled with purple and blue, their origin as mysterious as the whispers that called her name in the dead of night. Olivia's diary became her anchor, a tattered lifeline in a sea of shadows. She clung to every word, seeking solace and guidance in the faded ink. One night, driven by desperation, she decided to reach out. Candlelight flickered on the attic floor, casting grotesque shapes on the dusty furniture. With trembling hands, Emily opened the diary and poured her fear, her loneliness, onto the brittle pages. "Olivia," she wrote, her voice a barely audible whisper. "Can you hear me? Do you know what's happening? Please, I need your help." She left the diary open, a beacon in the inky darkness, and lay awake, straining for any sign, any whisper in response. The night pressed down on her, thick and suffocating, until a faint breeze stirred the air, carrying with it the rustle of paper. Her heart clenched. She sat up, eyes wide, staring at the diary on the floor. It had moved, inching open as if an unseen hand turned the pages. A cold dread wrapped around her, constricting her lungs. With shaking hands, she picked up the diary, her eyes scanning the page where she had written her plea. Nothing. The blank ink mocked her, offering no answers, no comfort. Had she imagined it? Was the house, the whispers, playing tricks on her mind? Tears pricked her eyes, blurring the lines on the page. Just as she was about to close the diary in despair, a new entry materialized beneath her trembling fingers. "I hear you, little one." Olivia's faded script danced across the page. "Do not fear. The Weaver seeks your memories, but you are stronger than you know. Trust the light within. Look for the sunstone." The entry abruptly ended, leaving Emily hanging on a cliff edge of cryptic advice. Sunstone, what was it? Where was it hidden? Was it a weapon against the Shadow Weaver, a key to escape its clutches? Questions swirled in her mind, but Olivia's words, faint as they were, offered a flicker of hope. She wasn't alone. Olivia was somehow with her, guiding her through the darkness. The house might be alive with whispers and shadows, but Emily wouldn't let them silence her. She would fight. She would find the sunstone. She would unravel the secrets of the house and reclaim her sanity, one whispered truth at a time. As the first rays of dawn crept through the dusty attic window, casting long shadows across the floor, Emily closed the diary, a fierce determination hardening in her eyes. The game had changed. It was no longer just about fear, it was about survival. And in the heart of the old Victorian house, a young girl, armed with courage and a faded diary, stood ready to face the darkness. Chapter 5. Forbidden Rituals. Olivia's diary, once a tattered lifeline, now felt like a ticking bomb. Each faded inscription crackled with secrets, its ink a map leading deeper into the heart of the house's darkness. The cryptic mention of a sunstone remained a tantalizing riddle, but it was the revelation of a forbidden ritual that truly sent chills down Emily's spine. Olivia's shaky narrative described a desperate act fueled by fear. Generations ago, her family had performed a blood ritual in the attic, a summoning intended to bind the Shadow Weaver and prevent its escape. But something went awry. The creature, drawn by their desperation, twisted the ritual, warping it into a prison sentence for Olivia and a feast for its insatiable hunger for memories. With each word, Emily felt the weight of history pressing down on her. This wasn't just her house anymore. It was a tomb, a monument to a failed attempt at containment. Fear gnawed at her, but it was quickly overshadowed by a burning curiosity. What else did the house hold? Were there clues to undoing the ritual, to freeing Olivia and perhaps even herself? Determined, Emily ventured beyond the attic, venturing into the dusty corners of the house. Bookshelves groaned under the weight of leather-bound volumes, their gilded titles promising forgotten knowledge. She scoured old diaries, faded love letters, and brittle newspapers, unearthing whispers of the Shadow Weaver's past. The creature, it seemed, had been plaguing the town long before the Victorians built their grand houses on its cursed soil. Local legends spoke of a whisperer in the pines, a shadowy entity that stole memories and drove men mad. Folk tales recounted children disappearing in the blink of an eye, replaced by hollow-eyed shells with stolen smiles. Each story confirmed Emily's suspicions. The Shadow Weaver wasn't just a figment of her imagination or a manifestation of Olivia's fear. It was an ancient horror, woven into the very fabric of the town. And somehow, she, a 10-year-old girl armed with a flickering candle and a cryptic diary, was now entangled in its legacy. But Emily wasn't one to back down. With each chilling discovery, her resolve hardened. Olivia's sacrifice wouldn't be in vain. She would find the Sunstone, unravel the ritual's secrets, and maybe, just maybe, break the cycle of fear that had haunted the house and the town for generations. But as she delved deeper, the shadows seemed to press closer. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, their echoes carrying a menacing edge. She started seeing fleeting glimpses of the Shadow Weaver, wisps of darkness flickering at the corner of her vision, its red eyes burning with an unholy hunger. The lines between reality and nightmare were blurring. Was she becoming another victim, her memories slowly being siphoned away? Or was this the creature's desperate attempt to intimidate her, to keep her from uncovering the truth? Emily knew she was playing a dangerous game, but she also knew that giving in was not an option. The fate of Olivia, the fate of the town, and perhaps even her own, rested on her shoulders. And in the flickering candlelight of a forgotten Victorian house, a young girl with a brave heart and a thirst for knowledge, prepared to face the darkness, one chilling whisper at a time. Chapter 6. Facing the Monster. The air in the attic crackled with a malevolent energy. Shadows danced on the dusty walls, mocking Emily's bravery with their grotesque shapes. Olivia's diary, once a flickering candle in the darkness, now lay open on the floor, a map leading to the heart of the storm. Armed with the knowledge gleaned from its faded pages and cryptic symbols, Emily had devised a counter-ritual. The Sunstone, a hidden gem Olivia had described, pulsed in her palm, its warmth a beacon of hope against the encroaching darkness. Herbs, gathered from the overgrown garden, lay scattered around her, their pungent scent filling the air with a faint resistance. As she began the ritual, reciting the words Olivia had whispered through the ink, the house responded. The floorboards groaned, the windows rattled, and a low, guttural growl echoed through the walls. The shadows coalesced, swirling into a dark vortex in the center of the room. From the vortex emerged the Shadow Weaver, its form a grotesque mockery of humanity. Razor-sharp claws ripped through the darkness, its eyes burning embers in the inky void. Its voice, a chorus of whispers woven into a single, chilling hiss, sent shivers down Emily's spine. "You dare defy me, child?" It rasped, its words dripping with malice. "Foolish mortal, your memories will fuel my hunger." Fear threatened to engulf her, but Emily clung to the Sunstone, its warmth anchoring her to her resolve. Her voice, though shaky, rang out in defiance. "I am not Olivia," she declared, her words echoing through the attic. "I will not be your prisoner. I will set her free." With a surge of adrenaline, she completed the ritual, throwing the fragrant herbs into the vortex. The air crackled, the shadows writhed, and a blinding light erupted from the Sunstone. The Shadow Weaver shrieked, its form contorting in agony as the light burned away its darkness. The house shook, plaster crumbling from the walls, furniture toppling like dominoes. Emily shielded her eyes, her heart pounding against her ribs. But when the dust settled, the attic was eerily silent. The shadow weaver was gone, its dark presence replaced by an unsettling emptiness. Olivia's diary lay open on the floor, its pages blank. Tears welled in Emily's eyes, a mixture of relief and sorrow. Olivia was free, but their connection was severed. Yet, as she left the attic, she knew Olivia's spirit would forever linger in the house, a silent guardian watching over her. The victory was bittersweet. The house was no longer haunted by the shadow weaver, but the scars of its presence remained. Emily's family, drawn by the commotion, found her huddled on the landing, shaken but alive. Though they wouldn't understand the darkness she had faced, they would see the change in her, the steely glint in her eyes that spoke of courage tested and fear overcome. Leaving the house behind, Emily knew this was just the beginning. The sunstone, warm in her pocket, held a whisper of hope, a promise of more secrets to be unraveled. The town, once shrouded in whispers and shadows, now felt a little brighter, a little less haunted. And as Emily walked into the sunlight, she carried the weight of the past, but also the strength of a victor, a young girl who had faced the monster and emerged into the light. Chapter 7. Sacrifices and Regrets. The air in the attic tasted of ash and burnt dreams. The sunstone, once a beacon of hope, lay cold and silent in Emily's palm, its warmth extinguished alongside the creature. Silence, thicker than fog, pressed down on her, broken only by the rhythmic hammering of her own heart. Victory had come at a terrible cost. Her parents, drawn by the chaotic ritual, now stood frozen at the attic door, their eyes glazed and blank, their laughter echoing faintly from somewhere beyond their own minds. The house, once alive with whispers, now stood eerily silent, the shadows clinging to the walls like mourners at a wake. As Emily stumbled down the stairs, the horrifying truth dawned on her. The counter-ritual hadn't banished the creature. It had fractured it, splintering its essence and weaving it into the very fabric of the house, the town, and its inhabitants. Her victory was a pyre upon which her family's sanity had been sacrificed. Olivia's diary, now filled with swirling shadows where entries once resided, confirmed her worst fears. The Shadow Weaver wasn't an ancient entity drawn to the house. It was born here, birthed from a twisted pact made by Olivia and her family generations ago. Olivia, desperate to protect her younger brother, had offered her own memories to appease the growing darkness, unwittingly setting the stage for the creature's emergence. Grief and guilt gnawed at Emily. Olivia, the ghost she had sought to free, had been a prisoner of her own making, and Emily, in her quest for heroism, had inadvertently condemned her loved ones to the same fate. The lines between reality and nightmare blurred, the past bleeding into the present, the whispers of the house now her own, accusing voice. Everywhere she looked, she saw a reflection of her folly. The flickering lamplight morphed into the creature's burning eyes. The rustle of leaves outside her window became its chilling laughter. Sleep was a battlefield, haunted by shadowy figures, with familiar faces, her parents, their smiles hollow echoes of the memories the creature had devoured. But even in the depths of despair, a flicker of defiance remained. Olivia's spirit, though shattered, wasn't gone. In the faded ink of the diary, Emily found a final message, a fragment of the counter-ritual she had missed, a whisper of hope amidst the encroaching darkness. Armed with this newfound knowledge and fueled by a burning desire to atone, Emily ventured back into the attic. The air crackled with anticipation, the shadows slithering with renewed hunger. This time, the fight wouldn't be for victory, but for redemption. a chance to mend what she had broken. As she began the amended ritual, her voice trembling but resolute, the house responded. Walls groaned, windows howled, and the shadows writhed in agony. The whispers, amplified 1,000-fold, became a deafening chorus of rage and despair. But Emily pressed on, her voice rising above the cacophony, a tiny flame defying the engulfing darkness. The lines between reality and nightmare dissolved completely. Her family's vacant eyes stared back at her, accusing shadows reflected in their pupils. The house itself morphed around her, shifting into a labyrinth of memories, each twist and turn a forgotten echo of the pact that had birthed the monster. But through it all, Olivia's fragmented presence flickered, a guiding light in the storm. And as Emily completed the ritual, a blinding light erupted from within her, not from the sunstone, but from her own heart. It was the light of sacrifice, of regret accepted, of love refusing to be consumed by darkness. The house shuddered, the shadows recoiled, the whispers fell silent. In the ensuing stillness, Emily stood alone, her family still frozen, Olivia's spirit at peace, and the fragments of the creature scattered like dust on the wind. The victory, if it could be called that, had come at an unimaginable cost, leaving behind a landscape of broken memories and the heavy weight of responsibility. Stepping out of the attic, Emily knew her journey wasn't over. The house, though cleansed of the creature's direct influence, remained a monument to past mistakes, a constant reminder of the sacrifices made and the regrets that clung to her like shadows. But with a newfound strength, she faced the dawn, ready to rebuild, to heal, and to carry the burden of her choices, knowing that sometimes the truest heroism lies not in victory, but in the quiet act of facing the consequences of one's own darkness. Chapter 8. Breaking the Cycle. The attic, once a battleground of shadows and whispers, felt heavy with a different kind of silence now. The air hung thick with unspoken words, the echoes of Olivia's sacrifice, and the weight of Emily's own choices pressing down upon her. The fractured creature, scattered like dust, was still a threat, a lurking shadow waiting to coalesce into the nightmare it once was. Olivia's diary, now a tattered mosaic of memories and cryptic symbols, offered a glimmer of hope. A single line, seemingly innocuous, held the key to a different kind of ritual, one that defied Olivia's desperate bargain. It spoke of a sacrifice, not of memories, but of something far more profound. Facing one's own darkness, accepting responsibility for the pain inflicted, and offering genuine remorse. The ritual was a gamble, a tightrope walk over a chasm of consequences. It involved confronting her deepest fears, the shadows she had buried within herself, and laying them bare before the fragmented creature. The risk was immense. Failure could mean unleashing the Shadow Weaver with even greater power, condemning her family and the town to a fate worse than the vacant shells they had become. But Emily had nothing left to lose. Her family, frozen in their stolen memories, were the only faces she saw in her dreams, the only voices that echoed in her nightmares. The guilt gnawed at her, a relentless hunger that only redemption could satiate. So, she stood in the attic, the sunstone cold in her hand, its light a faint ember against the encroaching shadows. With every trembling breath, she delved into the darkest corners of her soul, confronting the anger, the fear, the desperate need for control that had fueled her actions. She acknowledged her mistakes, her hubris, the reckless pursuit of a heroic narrative that had brought nothing but suffering. Tears streamed down her face, not tears of sorrow, but of a raw, cleansing pain. As she poured her heart out, her voice echoing through the silent house, the shadows stirred. They danced, they contorted, They whispered accusations, but Emily stood firm. She wouldn't flinch, wouldn't falter. This was her penance, her offering. The ritual, a tapestry woven from vulnerability and regret, began to take shape. The air crackled with energy, not of the creature's darkness, but of something else, something akin to understanding, to forgiveness. The fragmented shadows, drawn by her honesty, coalesced into a swirling vortex, a dark mirror reflecting her own turmoil. But within the vortex, a flicker of light emerged. Olivia's spirit, pieced together by Emily's sacrifice, took form. Her eyes, once filled with despair, now held a glimmer of hope. A silent thank you for the burden lifted, the cycle broken. Together, Emily and Olivia's spirit pushed back against the darkness, their combined light banishing the shadows, shrinking the vortex. The creature, its power waning in the face of genuine remorse, whimpered, its form dissolving into wisps of smoke that drifted away on the wind. The attic was silent once more, but this time it was a silence of peace, of a battle hard won. The house, though marked by the echoes of the past, no longer held the suffocating weight of darkness. Emily's family, their vacant eyes, regaining a flicker of life, stumbled towards her, their faces etched with confusion, but also with a spark of recognition. The victory, if it could be called that, was bittersweet. The scars of the past wouldn't disappear overnight, but as Emily held her family close, the sunstone warm in her hand, she knew she had done something more than just vanquish a monster. She had broken the cycle of fear and blame, replaced it with the light of forgiveness and the strength of accepting responsibility. The journey ahead wouldn't be easy. Healing, rebuilding, and understanding the consequences of her actions would be a long and arduous road. But Emily, no longer a naive girl seeking adventure, was ready to face it. She had learned that true heroism lies not in flashy victories, but in the quiet courage of facing one's own darkness and choosing the path of redemption, even when the cost is everything you hold dear. And as she stepped out of the attic, the sun painting the sky with the promise of a new day, Emily knew that the whispers, though faint, would always be there. But now, they would be a reminder, not of fear, but of the strength she found within herself. The girl who dared to break the cycle and choose the light, even when it meant facing the darkness within. Chapter 9. The Price of Peace. Silence, once suffocating and oppressive, now felt charged with a strange expectancy. The attic, where shadows once danced and whispered fear, held a chilling stillness. The ritual, fueled by Emily's raw honesty and Olivia's fragmented spirit, had taken effect, altering the creature's presence but not erasing its mark. The Shadow Weaver was gone, its essence scattered beyond the confines of the house. Yet, its echo lingered, a spectral chill clinging to the walls, a faint tremor in the wind outside. The whispers remained, too, but they were muted, fragmented whispers of forgotten nightmares, mere echoes of the terror they once held. Peace, however, came at a steep price. The sunstone, once brimming with warmth, lay cold and inert in Emily's palm, its light extinguished along with the creature's threat. Olivia's spirit, freed from its torment, had faded into the tapestry of the house, leaving behind a bittersweet pang of loss. Her family, released from the creature's grasp, emerged from their frozen state, their vacant eyes slowly regaining the spark of life. But the memories stolen remained absent, replaced by a hazy confusion, a void where laughter and stories once resided. Each vacant smile, each lost giggle, was a constant reminder of the sacrifice made, a haunting melody played on the strings of their shared pain. Emily grappled with the aftermath of her choices. The weight of responsibility for this fragile piece sat heavy on her small shoulders. Sleep, once a battleground, became a haunted sanctuary, plagued by fragmented memories and the echoes of past whispers. The shadows, though diminished, still danced at the edges of her vision, a chilling reminder of the darkness she had faced and the price she had paid. The house itself remained a monument to the events that unfolded within its walls. Floorboards creaked with the memory of hurried footsteps. Whispers seemed to hang in the air, clinging to dusty corners. The rocking horse in the attic, once a playground of childhood dreams, now stood frozen, its painted grin a mocking echo of lost innocence. But even in the midst of these scars, there were flickers of hope. The scent of freshly baked cookies filled the air, replacing the cloying musk of fear. Laughter, tentative at first, rose again from the living room, a fragile melody carrying the promise of healing. Her family, though forever marked by the experience, found solace in their shared pain, forging a new bond from the ashes of the past. Emily, too, found solace in small victories. The sunstone, though devoid of its former warmth, remained a symbol of her courage, a tangible reminder of the darkness she had faced and the light she had brought into the shadows. The whispers, once her tormentors, became a quiet challenge, a call to remain vigilant, to remember the cost of peace. In the end, the house on the hill stood as a testament to the enduring power of hope, even in the face of unimaginable loss. The shadows lingered, a whisper of the darkness that once resided within, but they were no longer the monsters they once were. They were a reminder, a chilling echo of the battle fought and the price paid, a constant vigil against the shadows that lurk within us all. And as Emily walked through the echoing halls, the faint chill of the shadows a caress on her skin, she knew that the true test of courage wasn't in facing the monster, but in living with the memories, in carrying the weight of what had been lost, and in embracing the fragile peace that bloomed from the ashes of darkness. The story of the house on the hill might be etched in whispers and shadows, but it was also a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a story of sacrifice, redemption, and the enduring power of love, even in the face of the darkest night. Chapter 10. Living with Shadows. Sunlight streamed through the window, painting golden squares on the dusty attic floor. The whispers, once omnipresent, were a faint rustling against the panes, like leaves dancing in the wind. Emily traced the sunbeams with her fingers, their warmth a fleeting comfort against the chill that still clung to the air. Life outside the house pulsed with normalcy. Laughter echoed from playgrounds, car horns honked in impatient harmony, and children chased kites across the sky. Yet, for Emily, normalcy felt like a foreign language, the syllables twisting on her tongue, the rhythm unfamiliar. Sleep haunted her with echoes of nightmares, the house a labyrinth of memories where Olivia's ghost whispered accusatory questions. Every creak of the floorboards, every flicker of candlelight, was a phantom limb of the creature she had banished. School became a stage where she played the role of a normal girl, a mask hiding the tremors beneath her skin. Laughter felt brittle, smiles strained, eyes perpetually scanning for shadows that weren't there. Her friends, with their untroubled faces and carefree chatter, lived in a world she no longer recognized. The family meals, once filled with boisterous conversation, were now punctuated by silences thick with unspoken grief. Her parents, the pieces of the fractured memories slowly reassembling, carried their own shadows, ghosts of laughter and stories lost in the creature's grip. Yet, even in the face of this constant battle with the remnants of darkness, Emily refused to surrender. The sunstone, though cold, lay heavy in her pocket, a tangible reminder of her courage. Olivia's spirit, though absent, lived on in the gentle breezes that whispered through the house, a comforting presence guiding her steps. She poured her anxieties into her art, charcoal sketching shadows twisting into intricate patterns, ink bleeding onto paper in swirls of unspoken emotions. The act of creation, raw and cathartic, became a bridge between the darkness and the light, her canvases silent testaments to the monsters she had slain and the scars they left behind. Slowly, she began to find solace in the ordinary. The warmth of sunlight on her skin, the taste of rain on her tongue, the rhythmic beat of her own heart, these simple things became anchors, tethering her to the present. She learned to laugh again, not the carefree laughs of her childhood, but gentle chuckles born from shared moments with her family, tinged with the bittersweet awareness of loss. Time, she learned, was a healer with rough hands and a patient heart. The whispers faded, the shadows danced less frequently, and normalcy, once a foreign language, became a song she could hum along to. The echoes of the past remained, etched into the fabric of her being, but they no longer defined her. One autumn morning, sitting on the porch swing with her parents, the scent of fallen leaves and burning wood heavy in the air, Emily felt a flicker of something new. It wasn't joy, not yet, but a tentative peace, a fragile hope that bloomed amidst the scars. The house on the hill, still draped in its mantle of whispers and shadows, no longer felt like a cage. It was a monument to her courage, a testament to the darkness she had faced and the light she had brought forth. She knew the shadows would always lurk beneath the surface, waiting for an opportunity to rise. But she also knew, with a fierce certainty that burned in her heart, that she would be ready. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the lawn, Emily stood on the porch steps, the cool wind a caress on her face. The future stretched before her, a canvas yet to be painted. She would carry the lessons of the house, the weight of shadows, and the strength of light in every brushstroke, every step, every heartbeat. For Emily, living with shadows wasn't about forgetting the darkness. It was about choosing to dance in the light, forever mindful of the monsters that lurked beneath, but forever prepared to face them, should they dare to rise again.